You have Bo and Aaron. They are two peas in a pod. The movie starts off and you see that friendship and it's established, you know, and you can really relate to that as two people being best friends and protecting each other's best interest.
Beyond the Mat is a coming-of-age story about friendships, conflicts, romance, and even diversity.
Look, man, when I was in middle school, I was told every single day that I didn't belong here.
Any film that causes controversy or brings awareness is worth watching.
You know, these kids start in one place at a very sort of young and naive state, and then by the end of the film, they're dealing with some really heavy issues that I think all high school students deal with.
I think that's another big message of this film, is how you handle your triumphs and defeats.
Relationship issues that Aaron deals with in the film, those are very universal things.
Hormones are ranging,
Yeah.
Kids are figuring out who they are. I mean, we've all been through the horrors of high school.
So everyone, this is a transfer student, Lynn Tran.
She's basically, I guess, the first other Asian person that the whole school sees.
Oriental population of Santa Fe just like doubled.
I'm the one that actually exposes him to his heritage.
You were the first person my age I've ever met that's Oriental.
We're not Oriental. We're not rugs.
I think slowly that sort of high school jealousy just seeps in and kind of overtakes Jen, and then it's major drama from there. So.
Come on, let's dance.
Let go of me.
Is there a problem here, Bradshaw? Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to offend.
Oh, a funny dude, you know?
I'm not sure if that, when I was performing, that I brought too much of myself to the character, or that it was written exactly how I was, because growing up, I was Dominic Bradshaw.
Eric, come on! Come on! Eric!
We also spend the majority of the movie wrestling, and we wanted it to be very real, and we wanted it to be very legit. We didn't want the wrestlers out there who watched the movie go, oh, they got doubles, or they faked it here. I mean, it's legitimately us.
They talked about that, and I remember being like, no, we wanted no doubles. We wanted every shot, everything happening to be us, and we would go through the entire 6-minute match. Sometimes they're like 2 minutes at a time.
Bo has always kind of been the leader of the pack, and Aaron's kind of been his right-hand man. And as we progress through it, you start seeing Aaron not being comfortable perhaps in that role, and in some ways pulling even and then ahead of Bo. And then obviously you can't have two alphas in the room, you know? It's just the pecking order of life.
If you stay at 165, you'll take state. There's no competition.
I want Bradshaw.
I understand that, son, but I'm thinking of the team here.
Look, I don't understand what the big deal is. I've already talked to Aaron. He fully supports me. He even said he'll let me wrestle off against him for his spot. Yes, sir, he said that. I'm going after him.
Even if it means walking all of your best friend to do it.
I'm not walking all over Aaron.
It's a big deal to wrestle off someone on your team for a spot.
Talent! Talent! Talent!
I have had to wrestle off a friend. It is a terrible, terrible thing to do.
What we have today in this society is kids give up early. If they're not first string, they don't want to wrestle. If they're not first string in football, they don't want to play. If they're not first string in baseball, they don't want to play.
There's definitely something to be said about perseverance and finding a balance of responsibility.
It's that important to you to make the weight and to win.
Being a part of a team is something special, and not always winning. You know, you gotta accept the losses too.
That's why I think it's so very, important that coaches and teachers and parents understand, what they're doing and the role that they're playing with kids.
Listen, you got 15 pounds on you. You take them out.
I feel like Bradshaw wanted nothing more than to prove to his coach that he is the best.
You're first because this says you're first. His kids are always trying to get his approval, but they'll never get it.
There were some coaches that, believe it or not, were very similar to Kurt Angle's character.
Unfortunately, we have coaches like that. Even worse, we have parents like that.
You fix it. Come on, go. I got it.
I think it's a personal thing in each of us, knowing our boundaries, knowing our limits, knowing how far we're willing to push things.
When I saw Beyond the Mat for the first time, I really hoped that the audience had walked out and said, wow, this takes me back to that time in my life when I was figuring out who I am and what I wanted.
It's not just a wrestling movie. It's not just a high school movie. It's not just, you know, a relationship movie. It's all of that and much more.
We're here to be entertained, but at the same time, I think that you should leave a movie feeling educated, feeling like you learned something about yourself.
You're only as good as the people you go through hell with.
I think it's very important for all of us to kind of know who we are. It's a very, you know, it's a thing of confidence. If you are comfortable in your own skin, you can be yourself.